I want our young people to know that they matter, that they belong. So don't be afraid. You hear me? Young people, don't be afraid. Be focused. Be determined. Be hopeful. Be empowered. Empower yourselves with a good education. Then get out there and use that education to build a country worthy of your boundless promise. Lead by example with hope, never fear. Our greatness has never, ever come from sitting back and feeling entitled to what we have. It's never come from folks who climb the ladder of success or who happen to be born near the top and then pull the ladder up after themselves. No, Our greatness has always come from people who expect nothing and take nothing for granted. Folks who work hard for what they have, then reach back and help others after them. Success isn't about how your life looks to others. It's about how it feels to you. We realize that being successful isn't about being impressive. It's about being inspired. And that's what it means to be your true self. It means looking inside yourself and being honest about what you truly enjoy doing, because graduates, I can promise you that you will never be happy plodding through someone else's idea of success. Success is only meaningful and enjoyable if it feels like your own. You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. And I know that because I've seen it myself, not just as a student working my way through school, but years later before I came to the White House and I worked as a dean at a college. In that role, I encountered students who had every advantage. Their parents paid their full tuition. They lived in beautiful campus dorms. They had every material possession a college kid could want: cars, computers, spending money. But when some of them got their first bad grade, they just fell apart. They lost it because they were ill-equipped to handle their first encounter with disappointment or falling short. But graduates, as you all know, life will put many obstacles in your path that are far worse than a bad grade. You'll have unreasonable bosses and difficult clients and patients. You'll experience illnesses and losses, crises and setbacks that will come out of nowhere and knock you off your feet. But unlike so many other young people, you have already developed the resilience and the maturity that you need to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep moving through the pain. Keep moving forward. You may be feeling some real anxiety about venturing out into the world beyond these walls. And I'm not gonna lie to you, for many of you, this is gonna be a pretty big transition. In fact, I think Dr. Martin Luther King described it well in his commencement address in '65 when he declared, quote, "Today you bid farewell to the safe security of the academic environment. You prepare to continue your journey on the clamorous highways of life." We all feel at times a little bit lost, and we all have some kind of emptiness that we're searching to fill. And often it is only through serving others that we find what's been missing in our own lives. And like so many of you, through service, I was able to find what I needed and carve a path for my life that truly felt like my own. And the truth is, those seminars where you explored new ideas, those late night conversations where you challenged each other and learned from each other, after all of that, you might find yourself a little dismayed by the clamor outside these walls. The name calling, the negative ads, the folks yelling at each other on TV. The power of inventing the future. I just want to pause for a moment on the word invent. because the phrase isn't succeed in the future, it's not plan for the future or do the best you can in the future, it's invent the future. And with those three words comes a simple message, a call to chart your own course and live life on your own terms. And that's a lesson that I first learned back when I was a teenager. And some of you may have grown up like I did in neighborhoods where kids very few of them had the chance to go to college, where being teased for doing well in school was just a fact of life, where well-meaning but misguided folks questioned whether a girl with my background could get into the kinds of colleges I dreamed of attending. After being surrounded by people who are so dedicated to serving others and making the world a better place, you might feel a little discouraged by the polarization and gridlock that too often characterize our politics and civic life. And in the face of all that clamor, you might have an overwhelming instinct to just run the other way as fast as you can. You might be tempted to find a community of like-minded folks and work with them on causes you care about and just tune out all of the noise. I worked hard and I did my best to tune out those voices of doubt, including the ones inside my own head. And eventually I was accepted to Princeton, and I got that education that my dad had always dreamed of. But the truth is, graduates, there will always be folks who make assumptions about you based on superficial things like where you're from or what you're wearing or how you look. There will always be folks who judge you based on just one thing that you say or do, folks who define you based on one isolated incident. I want to urge you to do just the opposite. Today, I want to suggest that if you truly wish to carry on the Oberlin legacy of service and social justice, then you need to run to and not away from the noise. Today, I want to urge you to actively seek out the most contentious, polarized, gridlock places you can find. Because so often throughout our history, those have been the places where progress really happens. The places where minds are changed, lives transformed. In the end, people can only define you if you let them. In the end, it's up to each of us to define ourselves. It's up to each of us to invent our own future with the choices we make and the actions we take. To succumb to feelings of despair and anger only means that in the end we lose. Those feelings are not an excuse to just throw up our hands and give up. Not an excuse. They are not an excuse to lose hope. But here's the thing. Our history provides us with a better story, a better blueprint for how we can win. It teaches us that when we pull ourselves out of the lowest emotional depths and we channel our frustrations into studying and organizing and banding together, then we can build ourselves and our communities up. We can take on those deep-rooted problems, and together, we can overcome anything that stands in our way. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to stop you from fulfilling your dreams. And you deserve every last one of the successes that I know you will have. But I also want to be very clear that with those successes comes a set of obligations to share the lessons you've learned here at this school. The obligation to use the opportunities you've had to help others. That means raising your hand when you get a seat in that board meeting and asking the question, well, whose voices aren't being heard here? What ideas are we missing? It means adding your voice to our national conversation, speaking out for our most cherished values of liberty, opportunity, inclusion, and respect, the values that you've been living here at this school. It means reaching back to help young people who've been left out and left behind, helping them prepare for college, helping them pay for college. So I want you all to go out there, be great, build great lives for yourself, enjoy the liberties that you have in this great country, pursue your own version of happiness, and please, please always do your part to help others do the same.